Hey guys, I'm still in this most beautiful place. I hope you can pick up some of the view behind me. It's really magnificent. Yesterday we were talking about characteristics of a Christian, basically. We were talking about what the old life used to look like and the things you had to die to and the things you had to put off in order to put on the newness of what it means to follow Christ. I love that terminology of put on and take off. You know, the garment that you wear gives you a clear identity of who you are. When we identify ourselves with Christ, then the garment of righteousness should shine. Now, I know that's philosophically thinking, but man, it's really true, and it's a great concept to dwell on. But in that list of stuff that it told us to put on, there was one that I wish wasn't in the list. Oh, man. The other things I can kind of get with the gentleness and the patience and all that. But then the last characteristic, and I've saved it for today, is simply this. It's a tough one. I wish it wasn't there, but it's there. It says this: bear with each other and forgive whatever grievance you may have against one another. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. Man, that's the toughest thing to do. There are people out there in the world who have kind of messed us up. Sometimes our relationships get into crisis for whatever reason. Sometimes we have to own our responsibility or our part in this breakup. But the same remains, that there's a lot of hurt out there that people will use, sometimes knowingly and sometimes maybe not. But the fact remains is that forgiveness is the key to freedom. It's the key to joy. And it's the great key to a life filled with peace. Now, I don't want to belittle the hurts that some people may have been carrying around with them, but I do know that forgiveness goes a long way in restoring to you the years that the locusts have eaten. That's a good reference. Go and find it. Now, when we look at this issue of forgiveness and we see the power of Paul gives us an example. He says, forgive as Jesus forgave. Man, I don't like that. Because there's Jesus hanging on a cross. They've beaten him black and blue. He's pouring with blood. They've trashed his reputation. They've trashed him as a human being. They've belittled him in front of everybody. The priests and the people who he came out of the Jewish tribe from which he lived, you know, they came and they belittled him and they lied about him. And then they hang him up on a cross, put nails in his hands, put a crown of thorns on his head, and they kill him. His last words were, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they are doing. Find that incredible, don't you? That this is the measure or the standard of which Jesus requires us to forgive. He's not saying, well, if you feel like forgiving, then go ahead. He's telling us you have to forgive. And Paul is telling us to not just forgive in a sentimental kind of a way with maybe a little, send them a box of chocolates or something, I don't know. But he's telling them to really forgive from the heart as Jesus did. Don't try and understand it. Don't try and work it out. Just forgive. Now, when you forgive, you know what you've got to do, hey? You've got to do something good for the person that you have forgiven. When you forgive, you've got to make an action out of it, because forgiveness is not just a word that we use lightly. It's a verb, and it's something that you have to do. It's not just a state of mind. It's not just something that you think about. It's actually something that you do. Now, I would advocate that you will prove your forgiveness by this particular step of doing something good for the person that you have forgiven. I hope that you'll find some way, some gesture of some way to be able to show that you have forgiven. A gift of forgiveness always goes with a measure of humility and a measure of repentance, if there's any guilt on your side. And by way of a gift of doing something good, does that and clinches the deal. Now, I haven't said that very well, but I have a great picture for you. Jesus, when he hung upon the cross, he didn't just say, forgive them. He was basically saying, forgive them, and so give them something nice. Give them heaven as well. You saw forgiveness does one thing, but forgiveness is not for God. Forgiveness is for you. So that when you forgive, something happens inside of you. It's not for the other person. Come on, for goodness sake. They don't care two hoots if you've forgiven them or not. Forgiveness is for you. But when you do that, God smiles. He's attracted to forgiving people. And he says, yes, now that's how I forgave. Now I'm going to bless you with something amazingly good as you bless that person you've just forgiven with something good. I really hope this makes some kind of sense to you people, because it's a powerful, powerful truth. Forgive as Jesus forgave means do something good for the person you have forgiven. It might be a thing that you stop trashing their reputation. Stop talking about them maliciously. Stop regurgitating this to 1,000 different people. Just stop that. It's not helpful. And it might be legitimate, but it's certainly not going to be helpful. But give something good to them. You work it out and find out what that might look like. I know you will. God will help you. Have a good day. Bye.